How's everybody doing? No, I'm not laughing today or even smiling because let me tell you, it has been rough. A rough transit couple of months. From the 14th of July to now, it has been actually going back to the first of the month of July 1st or even late June. It has been just terrible. Oh my God. Well, my play was a success. Unfortunately, you can't see pictures or videos because you know my demon Saturn cannot, for the life of me. And all of the stuff is on Facebook. If you want to see the pictures of the show and the play, it's on Facebook. But I could not upload it in my GoFundMe page, and I wrote the review 4 times, and 4 times it got erased. I got so disgusted I just left it alone. So unfortunately, this is my cross. And then, of course, we're having a full moon eclipse, both in Leo and in Aquarius at the same time because eclipses come in pairs. So this eclipse, along with the lunar and the new moon in Leo and Aquarius, uh, and the last month was Sagittarius, has been quite challenging, so challenging and so goddamn difficult that I have to do a one-time series on Saturn and really discuss this because if I'm going through it, then that means that many of you are also going through it. But first, I want to thank many of you for your donations. I haven't given individual names, but I'm going to do that when I start again the compatibility and incompatibility of signs so I can finish that series. And then I'm going to go into the moon sign because a lot of people want to know about the moon sign. So I'm going to do a series about the moon signs. And I will also do a series on the ascendant. Very important because, again, if I want you to have a birth chart, and order a birth chart from me, I need to give you a head start. I realize that I have not been doing this the smart way. Because, a birth chart takes a long time to, to not only does it take hours to put together, but it could take weeks, months to even decode and discuss with a client, a subscriber. So I think what I'm going to do after, again, I finish the series of compatibility and incompatibility of signs and the moon sign and the ascendant, is that I'm going to start talking about the individual planets and give deeper analysis of the individual planets. So you will have a heads up as to what these planets symbolize psychologically in the birth chart. So if you do order a birth chart, half the work will be done. And then you have a reference point. You go, oh, you know what? Fernando talked about Venus and Jupiter, or Venus and Jupiter in Leo, or Saturn in Capricorn. Let me go to that video. And then when I do the birth chart on you, you can go back to those videos as a reference because when I do the birth chart, it's a totally different ball game, But it's good if you have the basics. And to write written reports will be impossible. I used to do that before there was computers and before we had the internet. And like it would cost a client $1,000+ for a written report because I handwrite them myself. These are not computer generated. Do you know how long it would take me to write a report, a personal birth chart report? It would take me 2 or 3 days, and it'll be like 50, 60 pages. And I will have to charge you an arm and a leg in order for me to make a living out of it. You know what I mean? So that's not going to work unless I have a team of astrologers that are going to do that. And then many people express only want readings from me and not from my staff. So then I have to come up with a way, whereas I do the consultation, but I need to develop a reference where you can go back to and read and then call me and conference me or reference me or consult me concerning your birth chart and these planets. Still you have to pay the fee, but at least you will have a better understanding and there'll be more for your money given to you because then you will always have these videos of mine to use as a reference. So that's going to be the next series that I'm going to do because and I also have to explain how these planets work in the mundane world that we live in. A lot of people don't understand that astrology or the birth chart is a blueprint, a blueprint of your life. When you're born, when you're going to die, what illnesses you bring in, will you be married, will you have children, will you live a long life, and all and everything in between. You know, and for me to focus on that, I need to give a reference point of the generalities of astrology, not the way you read it in cafe astrology or in other websites, but literally a video of it and coming directly from me. So like that, you get a holistic understanding of the birth chart. I'm going to have to do that. Now I'm going to talk about Saturn in the 4 elements. Okay, it's better to talk about Saturn in groupings of the elements than to go through each individual sign. You know, so I'm going to start out with fire. You know, which of course will include the triad of Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius. So if you were born when Saturn was in Aries, understand that Saturn in Aries symbolizes, well, first let's talk about Aries. Let's talk about the fire signs and what they mean. And then we're going to bring in Saturn. But before I do, look, even my sunflowers are becoming sad. You know, usually the stems are up, but when I feel sad, and this is Leo month, so of course I'm going to have sunflower. But they're so sad because I've been a little sad. So when I'm sad, they become sad. You know, because you know I'm in tune with nature that way. So don't worry, little girls. I'm gonna perk up. Okay, I'm gonna perk up. Yeah, I get depressed when that happens because there's nothing worth. And then the retrograde. We are in a Mercury retrograde. And we're still in a Mars retrograde. And Venus is about to go retrograde. So, you know, when the planets go retrograde, I understand that as a Virgo, it affects me deeply. And I also have Mercury on my ascendant. So we Virgos, we get a hit. We get hard hit. And so do Gemini. And nothing works. Well, this is why I haven't been on the air for a while. You know, and, you know, I just got a brand new iPhone. It's almost $1,000 phone. It's an i8. You know, given to me by my brother. And it stopped working. Just stopped working. Just stop working. You need a SIM card. Really? Now I can make calls. I can receive calls. Can't use a damn phone. You know, this is how the devil, Saturn, affects my life. It attacks me to the computers, the technology, the phone. So if I want to do things like what I'm doing right now, it will be almost impossible to do it under these types of transits and afflictions of the stars. I'm lucky that I'm getting through now. I feel like I got to rush because it might shut off on me or something. I was in the middle of a reading with someone, I can't mention her name, a Scorpio, lovely woman, from Kentucky. I can't mention her name because I don't have a permission to mention her name. And we boop, lost the signal. Boop, you know, and that's how the devil gets you. So I'm pretty sure that this type of frustration that I'm going through, you must be going through it too, because we all have Saturn in our birth charts. And Saturn, that's the enemy. That's the enemy. But at the same time, he's not the enemy. He's the great teacher, the great taskmaster. But damn, Saturn teaches through pain and through denial and oppositions and adversity. Saturn makes things hard where he falls on the birth chart. And it's whipping my butt now. I don't even shave. You know, I'm like, oh, this trouble. You know, like it's crazy. You know, trying to get things together and under control. You know. So when that happens, you got to take a pause and figure out what is the Saturn is trying to tell you. What is the Saturn is trying to teach you? Now, we understand that the planets themselves don't assert the type of life and death that we attribute to our Creator. Remember, our Creator, the one that we haven't seen, the one that we don't know, is the grand architect that is behind. Now, why is the camera moving? See, I'm not moving the camera. Okay. Now, this is the thing. Why, you know, God, or the concept of God, is beyond astrology. Astrology is a reference point, but it's not all truth. There is something behind astrology that really is the truth. The astrology is just a lens of the truth. But there are many lenses to the truth. Astrology is just one of them, but it's up there as maybe number 2 or number 3, no more. The others, BS. The true language of all science and of all the stars and of everything we know is astrology. Astrology is the foundation of everything. Maybe not in the way that you think, because you look at astrology and you see the newspapers and the magazine, and it's kind of like hocus pocus, BS stuff. Sure, it has to be that way to capture the attention of the collective. But for those of us who are adepts and are initiate, we know that astrology is much more than what I even talk about. And if you think I'm deep, then you really won't be able to handle the real astrology behind everything else. Right? So, but to get to that kind of understanding, you have to understand mundanely why these planets have been chosen to influence the influence that it has on us in our particular solar system. Not just humans, but animals, plants, minerals, and all other phylum and kingdom species that live on our planet, or in our solar system in particular. Right? But these planets all have their significance in the horoscope. Let's start with the moon. And I'm going to talk about Saturn, but I'm going to give a brief of all the others just to make it a little bit more holistic. And of course, let me get my drink on. Okay, I couldn't help it. I had to laugh on that one. And I truly haven't been drinking much. And that's a surprise even to me. But this is Cocorico with Svedka. If you can see here, Svedka, and it's mango pineapple. But I had, and it looks like, I feel it's a mango pineapple. So I had to do a little Cocorico. But, put a little bottle. It's a little bit, like 2 drinks here. So I'm really taking it easy. I haven't really had time. I've been so busy trying to figure out, these incongruencies. Okay? Oh my gosh. These are new glasses. These are crystal glasses I bought the other day, and I still had the price tag on them. Oops, sorry about that. Ooh, little typo. Okay. The moon. The moon has a 28-day cycle. Has a 2.5-week interval cycle. And it also has a 2.5-day cycle. It also has a 2.5-hour cycle. The moon represents the immediacy of any situation that's going on in your life. And it does it through the reference point of your emotions. So if the moon is in Aries, you're going to feel fiery and jittery and excitable. It's not going to always feel that way, but it'll go through an interval cycle of 2.5 days, 2.5 hours, 2.5 weeks, 2.5 months, 2.5 years. That is the cycle of the moon. The number, the mathematical equivalent is 2.5. Mars has an 18 months, right? 18-month cycle. Or the number 18. In 18 years, every 18 years, Mars, by progression, Mars goes through a major long overhaul. So what does that mean? That means that in every 18 years, you're going to be faced with a fight. And it could be the fight of your life. And depending on where Mars falls in the horoscope is where that fight is going to manifest. Then you have Mercury. Mercury. Well, Mars. Let's say Mars is in Sagittarius. If Mars is in Sagittarius, you're going to go through periodic intervals of travel because Sagittarius deals with traveling. I have Mars in Sagittarius. And you've seen my pictures on Facebook. I travel all over the world. This isn't the first time. I've been all over the world twice. And I started when I was young, when I was 11, 13 years old. It was my first taste being on a, well, I was on a plane when I was fucking 5 years old. And then, again, when I was 13, 14, I was traveling and flying all over the place locally when I joined professionally the theater company at age 13, 14. And then 18 years after that, I was in my late 20s and I was traveling the world then. And then I ran and hit a wall and I didn't travel for 18 years. And then after that, I started traveling again. That was around age 32, 33. Then there was an interval where I stopped traveling. And then, but that was an 18-year span. And now I'm in my 50s and I started traveling when I was 45 and I'm traveling all over again. So Mars, wherever he falls, the number is 18. 18 years, 18 months. Mars goes through a major overhaul wherever he falls on the planet, on the birth chart and on the signs. Okay? Mercury. Mercury is one of the most mysterious of all the planets in astrology. The mythology of Mercury is unknown. And it moves quite fast. Quite fast. Not faster than the moon. But remember that, well, actually, it does move faster than the moon because Mercury is conjunct the sun. Mercury is never 28 degrees away from the sun. Mercury is within 28 degrees of the sphere of the sun. Venus is 48 degrees away from the sun. Okay? So the closest planet to the sun is the fastest. And this is Mercury. Mercury is so fast and so unpredictable that I don't know why the camera is moving that way because I'm not even positioning that way. Again, these are all the influences of Mercury retrograde. With Mercury, you have to understand that Mercury is so fast that he needs an individual analysis by case. When I do the videos on the planets and I do Mercury, I will spend a lot of time with Mercury because it's such a complex planet and its expression is so complex in each of the signs that it will require more than one series to talk about Mercury. Okay, but let's say Mercury falls in Scorpio. Well, you know, a Scorpio's mind will never stop resting. It doesn't stop resting now. It's gonna rest even less when Scorpio is there because it will make Scorpio more calculated, more precise, and a little bit more diabolical. Venus. Venus has an 8-year cycle, an 8-day cycle, an 8-month cycle, 8 minutes. Number 8. And wherever Venus falls in the horoscope is where you're going to experience joy. Now, this joy of Venus, because remember, understand that the moon and Venus are very similar in function. You know, the moon represents the emotions, but Venus represents feelings. And people forget that feelings and emotions are different. One goes out and the other one stays in. The one that goes out is the emotions of the moon. It's in the word emotion. Motion. And then what does E mean? E means exit. It means out. Just go into an English dictionary and look up prefixes and suffixes and the root of words. And you will know that E means out. Emotion. Out emotion. So that, I love you! I love you! That's emotion. But this is feeling. Feelings are internal. They don't go out. They stay in. They might be funneled through the moon. but it's a different faculty of the human psyche. Okay? So if you have Venus in Leo, like I do, then I'm going to enjoy nature because Venus rules Taurus and Libra, so it rules the refinement of emotional feelings. So I'm going to walk out into the street and enjoy the trees, enjoy the lake, enjoy the air that hits my face, enjoy the sun. Just be happy to be surrounded by Earth's beauty. And also the beauty of each and individual human being. I may like music, I might like to hear music and just be moving around when I'm listening to music. I'm not singing, which will be emotional, but I'm like, you know, those are emotional. It's an internal feeling of goodness. So that's Venus. So then you have, I mentioned, then you have Jupiter, the biggest planet on our solar system, the great benefactor, Zeus, the king of the gods. Wherever he falls on the horoscope is where he's going to give you joy beyond belief and prosperity and good luck and will exalt you. I have it in Leo again, you know. So to have it in Leo means that there's a possibility that you might reach fame, popularity. You know, conjunct Venus might make you attractive, good looking, you know, and will put you out there where you can become a star, an actor, or stage, and you know, because it puts you out there as a glass menagerie of beauty. Okay? If it falls in Scorpio, then you are going to have money beyond belief. Like Matthew McConaughey. Okay? Bethany Frankel. Okay, the people who are extremely wealthy people, you know, and that's Jupiter in Scorpio. You know, it will bring the good things for you, the fine things in life for you. You know, but it will also expand your personality. And if you have a rotten personality, then fuck it. Then you are the Jupiter in its placing in Scorpio will make you worse than what you are. Because Jupiter is an amplifier, amplifies wherever it falls in the birth chart. And then we have Saturn. And Saturn, I'm not going to discuss Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto because we're not going to have time. But Saturn in the fire signs restricts, delays, obstructs, causes frustration and depression. In Aries, in Leo, and in Sagittarius. In Aries, when Saturn strikes, he takes away your vitality. You become depressed. It takes you forever to get one task done. Because Saturn in Aries is like having a tons of bricks sitting on your shoulders. And you want to move smoothly and with agility. It's impossible to do it with that kind of weight of Saturn. So, and that depresses. You can't go to the gym and work out the way you want to because you might injure yourself. You know, it limits your movements. It is the worst position for Aries. For Aries. Saturn in Aries is in its fall, as we call it. In its fall. Okay, in Sagittarius, he will tend to make you a cynic, critical, and have a dark outlook in life. And Jupiter rules Sagittarius, which is a happy-go-lucky, you know, baby Jupiter or the Lady Luck. With Saturn there, the Lady Luck doesn't sing. And if she does sing, she sings the blues. In Leo, Saturn will afflict you from within. You don't feel like a king. You don't feel enamored. You don't feel loved. And you don't feel that people respect you and give you your due respect. Saturn teaches you when he's in Leo that that has to come from within you. Even if it means sacrificing the adornment and applause of others. So this is Saturn in the fire signs. A real bitch of a planet. Because it really does, it's worst with the fire sign than the earth signs and the water signs and the air sign. Saturn is more exalted, function better in the air signs than in any other element. And this is why I needed to talk about that. The next time I will talk about the other element, and we're done with the series.